Hello and welcome to this pre-QRCA event interview. It's fantastic to have Abby Leafe here to talk to me about New Orleans coming up. Abby, thanks so much for joining me. Can you first of all give a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, my name's Abby Leafe. I'm a qualitative research consultant. I'm based just outside of Philadelphia in the States here. And I've been a qualitative research consultant for almost 15 years. I've been a QRCA member for almost all those years. I played a number of different roles in the association, but this year I am co-chairing the conference in New Orleans.
Awesome. Okay, so I was thinking about all the pre-event interviews that I've got lined up this week and next, and I thought that you might have the best deal going here because your job today is to tell me about why New Orleans, the amazing city that is, has been chosen to host this conference. So please tell us a little bit about New Orleans and the thought process behind why it was picked to host this event.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think I have the best job of anybody in the next couple of weeks to talk about the city. I think, when we think about what's a great city for QRCA to hold the conference, I think we think about a few things. And, frankly, one of them is weather. And New Orleans is going to have just spectacular weather in October. It's going to be, nice, warm, temperate during the day, probably in the 70s, and then a little cooler in the evening. So it's really, I think, just the best time to visit New Orleans. And the second thing we really look for is a city that has a real sense of place to it. So it's some place where our attendees can go and feel like they've been somewhere interesting. And anyone who who's been to New Orleans knows it's interesting. So it's just a lovely, vibrant city with a lot going on, and we'll really get a chance to experience a lot of the city while we're there.
Yeah, and on that topic about experiencing the city, I know that a large part of these events is the kind of fun that's to be had after the conference and the networking that goes on. So I'd like to ask you a little bit about activities that are planned for, after the conference takes place.
There's a lot of things planned for after the conference ends each day. On Wednesday, which is the first day of the conference, we always have our welcome cocktail parties. On Wednesday and Friday evenings, we have what we call dine-arounds, which is, I think, going to be the best opportunity for attendees to really get out and experience the cuisine of the city. So attendees will get to sign up and go out to dinner with old friends, new acquaintances, and really experience the cuisine of New Orleans, which I think is going to be a blast, and I'm really looking forward to. Other than that, after the conference on Thursday, we have our evening party, which is always, I think, a real highlight of the conference and something that attendees tend to look forward to. We're doing something we've never done before. We're going bowling, which
Wow.
I'm really enthusiastic about. Forget everything you think you know about bowling alleys, because bowling alleys in the U.S. tend to be these kind of dirty, dingy places that smell like cigarette smoke, and this place is kind of the opposite of that. It's this beautiful cocktail lounge, and it just happens to have a place to bowl as well. So we'll be dancing, we'll be bowling. There's a photo booth, so you can actually take pictures with new friends and old friends and walk away with a souvenir from the parties.
Awesome, and a good opportunity to get very competitive, it sounds like, as well, so that always suits me, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to bowling, and I'm also happy I don't have to bring or wear bowling shoes, so keep that in mind.
Again, from an international perspective, it's interesting because New Orleans has got this great, fantastic kind of image. Is it the same? Is it the same perception in America? Is it still a very unique place to America as well?
I think it really is. It's funny, being a qualitative researcher, I travel and visit all markets around the U.S. And the more markets I go to, the more I'm like, everything is the same, whether I'm in Denver or Chicago or Seattle. I'm like, ugh. You go to New Orleans and you're like, this is not the same as everywhere else. And so I think from an international perspective, it's a really fun city to visit and a fun place to feel like you've been somewhere in America that's quite different. And just getting to experience the architecture and the food and the people. It's a really unique place within America, I think.
Amazing. Well, you've sufficiently whet my appetite, Abby, and I'm really looking forward to coming over there and experiencing it for myself soon. Thank you so much for joining me today, and
Awesome.
I look forward to seeing you in a month or so.
See you soon.
Thanks, Abby.